Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Black as night, erase death from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate make it right.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Cast a circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea, because it's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm Sharon.
And this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven, you guys.
Yay, welcome back.
We're so excited to be here.
Yes, we are. And I know we have some listener email we'd like to share today.
Yes, we did have a listener email. It's from Morgan. And she says, "Hi guys, I just discovered your podcast from someone who is listening to it on Instagram, and I love it. Thank you, Morgan. We love it too, and we love you for listening."
Yes. And thanks for those Instagram shout outs, guys.
Yes. She says, "In particular, I really enjoyed the episode on the spiritualist movement, which is something that has always interested me, especially the Mumler story. I like your healthy dose of skepticism while relaying these stories, with still being open-minded and overall believers in the paranormal. At the end of the episode, you said to reach out if you had any experiences with it, so I thought my story might interest you." And she says, "I'm a mental medium myself, but otherwise a very normal person." Haha. Where, I mean, none of us are really normal, right? What is normal anyways? Who stipulates that?
Right.
She says, "I believe I was born with this ability, but it didn't come to the forefront until I was 23 years old after the tragic passing of my best friend. I'm 27 now." She says, "I don't use any tools in my spirit communication, just myself and a notepad with the intention to connect with someone who is deceased. I too always believed in the paranormal, but I was a huge skeptic of this, even while it was actually happening to me. Even now, when I get information, I'm still amazed how I got it because of the simplicity of it just popping into my mind. I eventually reached a point where I thought either I was insane or it was all real, so I started offering readings to people on Reddit as a non-biased test, and to my own surprise, I was able to do it. Anyways, I'm a believer now, and I just wanted to share my story with some people who wouldn't think I'm a total weirdo." I love this so much. I love your story because it strikes a chord with me for sure. Like, I too lost my best friend. There's so many similarities. Like, it's uncanny why we were best friends, but we were both named Wendy. We both had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. We both had husbands that were not great, and we loved to drink and we loved to dance and we loved to have fun together. But even though she was my best friend, I never really told her about my gifts, which I always thought was really weird. Like, it's not that I didn't think that she wouldn't approve of me. It's just that at the time period in our lives, we really didn't pursue that. We were going through so many other things. It's like I didn't really have time for my gifts at that time in my life. My children were young, and I don't know if anybody else has young kids, but when you have young kids, you focus your life on them. And
right,
it's
so that was on the back burner.
Yeah, it was on everything else was on the back burner. So it was just kids, family, friendships, and that's all I really had time for. And it was getting close to really wanting to tell her about it, and I had done a reading and had actually predicted that she was going to die. And that was a really rough time for me. It was really rough. I didn't tell her about it before she passed, and it was really hard. I can't even explain my emotion about it because it was really raw, really raw, I guess. And
I would think I'd want to deny what the cards were telling me or try to find another way to interpret it. That's what I do when I don't like what they're telling me.
Yeah, I did try that. And then within a week of me doing the reading, she came back and told me that she had something come up on a test that she had taken at the doctor. And they said that they did find a tumor in her lung. And we just knew, both her and I just looked at each other and both knew that she didn't have much time. And we spent as much time as we could together during that time period. And when she passed, I was lucky enough to have her visit me. And I definitely am thankful for the time that she did come and visit me. And I don't know what else I wanted to say about it. I was just moved by what Morgan had to say, and definitely understand the fact that she was skeptic about her abilities, because I get that way so much. I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Right. I definitely resonate with that feeling, because I don't say I'm a medium by any means, but the few times that I've had family members come to me, it's not tangible enough to where you're like, yeah, that tracks 100%. Like, there's that doubt there where you're like, was that just me in my head?
Right.
You know? But it's really awesome that she reached out to Reddit and was able to do this unbiased test and get that confirmation. And the more you stop doubting yourself, I'm sure the stronger that connection and that mediumship becomes.
Exactly. Super cool story. We're really thankful that you messaged us, Morgan.
Yeah. It is really nice getting all these messages from people who can kind of relate to doubting yourself for maybe being different and not up to what we think society is looking for. And, you know, together we have this little tribe. Like, it's safe to be together, I guess. You know what I mean?
And no judgments. Like,
yeah.
Man, judgment has brought me down so many times in my life. But I'm just like, I feel pretty good in this space now, you know?
Yeah.
We're pretty good where we're at.
Yeah, you're not alone. Like, there's a lot of people out there who've experienced the paranormal or loss and hardships, and there's just so many unexplained things that we've all seen.
Yeah.
So we have that at least.
Yes. Definitely a nice little group here.
Yeah, so keep those emails coming, guys. It's cousinscoven2@gmail.com.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. We've just had some really good listeners writing in lately, and it's awesome.
Yeah, we love to feel like that we get to know you a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
We're not just talking to each other.
Right.
There's other people out there.
Wait, we're not just talking to each
other?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we should filter ourselves more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we constantly regret. Sometimes we're like, did I just say too much?
Right. I'm like, oh man, it's all out there now. That's what I always say afterwards. Right? I'm like, shoot. And we're editing, and I'm like listening to myself, and I was thinking, I have to be real easy to delete this right now, but then we leave it in there.
Yep. Try to keep it raw for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, did you have any like fun tidbits or stories, or should we just get into our main topic?
I don't really have anything. I mean, nothing really.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on. So today I really wanted to talk about crystal grids and some crystals.
Yay!
I feel like this whole year that was one of my goals, was to utilize crystal grids more and just kind of understand them. So I was excited to talk about this today. And there's a couple of crystal grid types that I think are interesting to kind of dissect and talk about, which we've mentioned a little bit before on the podcast. But location crystal grids is one type of crystal grid. So like this could be a large crystal grid, which could be placed around maybe just your bedroom, maybe like all four corners of your bedroom to help you sleep or something like that, or for protection.
Could you do your whole house?
Yes, and then you could even like expand it to your whole house or to your whole property, let's say. Like you could do four corners of your farm or however your layout is.
Nice.
Another idea that I was reading in a book is that like crystal grids for your garden. So maybe if you wanted to have that outdoor altar space or, you know, Zen area, you could just put a little grid in your garden area, which I really love the idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
I just imagine it would be really helpful for all the little fae folk and meditation you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And grids, they say that are for the outdoors are really great for change or even to like maintain a space's energy or to just like protect it from negative energy and outside forces.
Okay. So can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you do a crystal grid, does it have to be with just crystals, or can you also use stones, or could you use runes, or?
I love that you actually asked that. I was reading that it could be literally more than just crystals.
Okay, good.
So like I know I like to work with seashells a lot. You could use grids with like seashells, rocks, feathers, beads, and this is like an ancient tradition. So this kind of grid work isn't like a new concept, and you can mix and match what you use. So definitely,
Nice. Okay,
great
good.
question. Yeah,
I was like, we have a bunch of rocks that we put runes on, and then we spelled them, and then we put them in each corner of our windows. So so the window, so there's two, one in each corner of the window space in each window of the house. So I've definitely felt like it's helped quite a bit. It's kept out a bunch of energy that was currently coming into our home.
I bet.
Love it.
And are you using one rune or different runes or what?
Different ones. So just basically ones that have to do with protection. I wish I could tell you the name, but for us, when we came up with them, it was something that we saw when we were doing Enochian magic. So it's the same kind of symbols that we were using with that.
I wonder if that's the same as the Nordic runes that I'm familiar with, or if they're different.
Oh, I don't know. It'd be something for us to look into.
Yeah. Because I think with like a Nordic symbol that I want to say resonates with protection is literally, it looks like a P almost.
Oh, okay.
And that's a really good one. But there's so many symbols that are good for protection.
Yeah.
So you could really get creative with it.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. So you've done the indoor crystal grids, and you've also done crystal grids for clients, right?
Yes. Yeah, I have done that. And I didn't really know anything about them. I didn't even know that's what I was doing.
Intuitive. You're always so natural.
I know. And I just was like, oh, we've got to have these crystals and we've got to put them in the entry point of the window. For me, it always resonated that they had to be near a window so that you could either repel the spirit from coming in or force the spirit to go out. I don't know if that's true, but that's just what my instinct was telling me.
I think that's true then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know when I've gone to people's houses, I typically use quartz or have them choose stones that are relatable to them. So it might be a situation where I'm like, okay, well, let's go out and see if there's any stones around your property that speak to you, or let's go to the beach together and take a moment to see if we can find some shells that mean something to you. So it just depends on what they're wanting.
And that can kind of help save money, because I feel like crystals can be expensive. So if you can
Absolutely.
use objects that you find outside in nature, that's great.
Yeah. I'm like, it still doesn't stop me from buying all of them.
No.
But but if I'm working with a client, like I try to do as much for them as I can without having them spend any money.
Yeah. Right.
So it's best
And I remember you telling me a story on podcast like last year, probably when we were just first starting. And I think you mentioned how there was a crystal grid that you had done for someone's apartment, and like the crystal had changed colors, like a clear quartz had absorbed the energy.
That was, it was my apartment, actually.
Your apartment? Okay.
Yes. So I had done a crystal grid with just clear quartz, and one of my crystals had turned black after about a week. And I don't know why that happened. I just think it was the negative energy got trapped in there. I was able to take that crystal and clear it, cleanse it somehow. Like, I didn't throw it out.
So it's not black anymore?
Nope.
What did you do?
I put it in the moonlight.
That's it?
That was all I did.
Okay, because I have a crystal right now that is an aquamarine crystal, and it wasn't even in a grid. It was just in the room where I have all my crystals. But this particular one had gotten like a brown tinge to it.
Oh.
And I was like, what has this aquamarine absorbed? Like, what's going on with you? And I felt really bad. I didn't want to throw away the aquamarine, so I was thinking maybe I'll give it like a salt soak or bury in the earth, but moon bath would be good too. So I think I'll try to like save it before I just like hawk it into the trash.
Yeah. I mean, it is typical. Like, I have done some things where I know people have felt like there was a hex on them, and so I'll have them take a throwaway stone where they rub the stone all over their body, and then we end up throwing it somewhere where it's never going to see humans ever again.
Which is
So-
another great trick I feel like I got from you, and I've tried it, and you feel it.
Yeah, you totally do. Yeah, it's pretty
Like,
amazing.
Yeah, like I know you described it as like starting from the top of your head, you can kind of
Yes.
go maybe even a spiral, just kind of going down. And as I was doing that, like it just felt all the energy going out of me. It's super
Yeah.
easy way to cleanse.
Very easy. And you're just imagining all that negativeness just going into this one stone. I don't remember if I said on the original podcast, but when I learned how to do that, I didn't know how to dispose of the stone. I never knew it. And my daughter and I had been driving down the road and we threw the stone out of the car. And you should never do that because then there was an accident on that road when we drove on the way back.
I made a mistake even after you warned me of that. I just sometimes am stupid like that. I just was doing the cleanse and I ended up throwing the rock like into the woods. Like I just thought like that's a way. Blah.
Sure. Yeah.
And then
it's
like
done.
that night, like all these raccoons were coming around and all this energy was weird. And I was just like, did we do this wrong? Like, should I have just got up off my ass and walked to the dumpster and thrown it away?
Yeah, you should have put it in the trash.
Yeah. So don't be lazy, guys. Dispose of those rocks properly.
Yeah. Very much so. We don't want anybody to come in contact with that energy.
Right. So sometimes we do stupid stuff like that in life, but we keep going.
Yeah.
And the black rocks that I ended up using were like one of those little like black river rocks, and it was just like a little pack that I bought from the Dollar Tree.
Yeah,
So-
I've used those before too. Yeah. But I've also just found stones on the ground. So whatever you want to use. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Right. And I guess this kind of segues into a different type of crystal grid. On my list was body crystal grids.
Ooh.
That is more like a temporary crystal grid. Obviously, you're not going to be lying there forever. But you could do this where you're placing maybe specific chakra crystals and doing like the proper colors and crystal associations with that chakra and lining them up on your body. I've tried that too, and it can be a little bit hard if you're just moving or breathing, like they'll roll off. So you
Right.
can even like just do it on the sides of your body and kind of be in a little circle, or however, like maybe just next to a line of crystals. So it can be placed on or near the body, basically. And that can also help with psychic protection, and I think just protection in general, or even like an aura cleanse.
Sure. And to kind of go with the chakra thing too, if you're in a group, like if there's more than one of you there, the other person can help you. And maybe even, like in my situation, I know I've done the chakra stones, but also performed Reiki at the same time while using the stones.
And that kind of amplifies, you think, the process?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So do you use the specific colored stones or?
Yeah. And usually I'll let the client help me choose. So I have specific stones that have runes on them that I bought online. That was just something, it was like a chakra kit. I was kind of disappointed in those stones though, because after a while they started wearing down, and then underneath I found out it was just this white rock underneath. It wasn't even the real jade, or not real jade, the real jasper. And so then I found actual real stones, and I typically, I'll have the colors of the chakra, and I'll just be like, okay, here's some real stones. You choose what you want. We'll put them either around you or on you. I find it best when they're on the body, but it definitely doesn't have to be that way.
Right. Either you gotta use what works sometimes. And
Right. Absolutely.
I've gotten bamboozled from Amazon with some crystals.
See? Same.
And I just read your reviews, because that's kind of helped me going forward. And if it's a good price and it's on Amazon, it's probably fake. But I got my very first pendulum from Amazon. It was supposed to be an amethyst, and I still use it to this day all the time. But it does kind of upset me. There's one little area that popped off, and you can see it's like a weird green, and I don't even know what that is. Is it even a stone, or is it like a cement? Like, I don't know.
Right. It depends on, was it a porous rock or was it a shiny rock?
I don't think it's just like, it almost looks like a rusted little green thing.
Gotcha.
I'll have to show you.
Interesting.
I still don't hold it against the crystal, so I use it.
Yeah.
It's just
the
not
crystal's
ideal
fault.
when it's advertised as a real crystal and it's not.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I've
And
had
then
that happen before too. And you expect that from somewhere like the Dollar Tree, but you don't expect
Yeah.
that from somewhere that you're paying, $5 for a crystal or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it might be worth it to go in person and pick out your crystal sometimes. But then on the other end, I've gotten some really nice tourmaline bundles that I've used for crystal grid protection around my home on eBay. So, sometimes it's worth the gamble.
Right. I feel super lucky being in Oregon because here I feel like I can go hiking. Oh, I found some rocks. Nature just provided those to me. Oh, I went to the beach. There's some rocks. Oh, I went to my work. There's some more rocks.
Nature is plentiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The other type of crystal grid is what they consider just kind of like a regular crystal grid, which is kind of the main thing I've been really interested in. And that would be where you're just doing like a small or medium-sized like geometric pattern on a flat surface, maybe just on your altar or in your home or your vanity, wherever. And the energy of the crystal grids is really focused, and they say it's kind of directed and amplified when you're using a small grid like that towards a specific purpose. And the crystals are kind of like a catalyst for your intention. And so when you're doing crystal grid work, one of the main things I was reading is that it's really about your intention. So when you're setting it up, you want to visualize what your goal is. So maybe you want to do a crystal grid for protection. Think about protection or armor, or visualize a really safe home or white energy surrounding your home. Pour in the intention, because I think the more you do that, the better results you're going to get.
That's just like with any spell.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And like there's a belief that the crystals are altering energy and vibrations all around you, and that they can be programmed with that specific need. And so crystals are really good for that.
I've seen them do scientific testing on that before. Like,
yeah,
I swear on Ancient Aliens, they did that one time because they were looking at crystal skulls. And they actually found out that they give off an electromagnetic field, that different stones will emit that. And I'm like, sweet.
Right? There is a lot of scientific things about crystals. Like if you zoom in them, they do have their own geometric patterns within. So like that sacred geometry is just radiating out, It makes you wonder, like, these crystals were put here for a reason by whatever higher power you believe in. Like,
right.
It's pretty awesome.
Right. It's a gift.
Yeah, for sure. But I've only done a couple of crystal grids so far, but I have a lot of fun with it. And I like to just kind of use my intention, not my intention, but my intuition as I go, and just kind of like, let's see what happens. So a lot of times lately I've been using a lot of my like watery stones and doing that kind of a theme. And I don't know, I like doing crystal grids. Do you ever mess around with those? Or
all the time? So every time I'm doing a reading, I do a crystal grid around me. Every time I'm using a Ouija board, there's a crystal grid around me.
Oh, nice.
Every time I do a spell, there's a crystal grid around me.
So they'd be more temporary based on your work, and then you disassemble?
Right. Disassemble, reassemble, disassemble, reassemble.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like putting one up and kind of leaving it be for maybe a couple weeks and hope that my cats don't mess with it.
Right.
I have a couple of like really easy shapes that I think that I could easily describe over the radio and not have pictures for. So there's a couple of grid shapes I wanted to go over. And I also think that they're easy for people that might not have just a plethora of crazy crystals like we were talking about. Like, this would just be easier.
Yeah.
One of the basic shapes in life is just a circle, and I found out you could make a lot of cool changes using a circle crystal grid in your life, and that the circle itself is going to represent like bringing wholeness into your life, focus, renewal, cosmic flow, and protection. And the fact that the circle has no beginning and no end really represents eternity. And that the circle shapes can be seen in like the celestial bodies of like the sun, the moon, the planets, and the earth. So it's really like this cosmic power that can come out of them. And because there's like this wholeness there and this eternity there, it kind of represents also commitment. So like I was thinking maybe if you want to either commit to a person or a project or an idea or maybe a new goal, like a circle grid would be a really good idea.
I'm like, even yourself.
Yeah, self-love, or maybe you
Yeah.
just want to like, I really want to exercise every day this week,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. Like there's so many great ways you could utilize these energies. So I like the idea of doing a circle. Like you could do that maybe even with like 4 or 5 stones, shells, beads, whatever, but that's just like super simple.
Love it.
Another one that is easy and is very similar to a circle would be like a spiral. So the key words I guess you could associate with a spiral grid would be if you want to bring growth into your life, which I think makes visual sense entirely. Like just think about that spiral growing out and getting bigger and getting more traction and energy. And this also coincides with like bringing about spiritual development, which I totally love. Also guidance, wisdom, and the spiral also represents like kundalini energy, and I really like the idea of the spiral. Like I think it would be great for maybe anyone who's wanting to devote themselves to a spiritual path or yoga or witchcraft, meditation. Like this could be a good way for you to focus on that. Maybe every time you meditate you do a spiral grid or something like that.
And you know what's cool about a spiral is it's kind of a symbolism of what the universe is set up like. I feel like yeah.
The solar systems in a sense.
Yeah, the solar system. And I know that I might be getting this wrong, but I know that somewhere in the desert I remember seeing pictures of spirals. I don't remember if it was Egypt or South America, but one of those places has spirals in the desert.
On the is it caves or on the floor?
I think it's in the desert itself, like in the sand.
In the sand?
Yeah.
It's a natural formation?
Like they made it.
Okay, like carved it.
Yes.
Dude, that brings me all the way back to like our first episode of the ancient aliens, because I remember talking about those Nazca lines and how the monkey's like tail was a spiral. So this is an ancient symbol that I know is all over cave paintings, apparently multiple deserts, which is awesome. So something about a spiral has been drawing, like, I don't know, humanity for a long time.
I feel like it's just that universal energy would be what a spiral is, because all the different solar systems are in that shape of a spiral.
Right? Which makes you think, like, do these ancient people have contact with aliens? Is that why they know it? Or is it something at that time they had a view of that in the stars? Because there was
they didn't have lights.
Right. There was nothing blocking them.
Yeah. The only thing they had to deal with was fire.
Right. And like the natural pattern of a spiral is even in like shells.
Absolutely.
Some plants like ferns are DNA strands.
Yeah.
Like there's just tons of connections with spirals.
Absolutely. Love it.
Right? I guess like what kind of grids would you want to use for a spiral? I think I would love to do that anytime. I just like doing magic. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Or if you're calling on different entities, if you're calling on different, or not entities, deities. Yeah. I think you could do some spiral work with deities, because we don't know what area of the universe they're coming from.
Yeah. I always like the idea of like expanding my intuition and my third eye and wisdom. So maybe to use that to tap into that higher, I don't know, wisdom. Be like, give me messages, please.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to draw, is that spiral shape. I remember I started drawing that when I was young. And then then it morphed into, I'm going to play that MASH game with my friends, and we had to do the spiral.
Oh my gosh, you would use the spiral to tally.
Yeah.
Like how many, whatever, I don't know how you would describe that, but.
Yeah, the tally to be like, we're marking off. I'm never going to have a mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your spiral was 6 circles deep, so we're going to count every 6 thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Now that you mention that, like, I do remember doing a lot of spiral drawings as a kid, too. What is it about us as humans? It's in our DNA.
Exactly. It's in that Akashic record, people.
Right? Another basic shape I think that is a good one would be a triangle. So that would represent creativity, creation, manifestation, harmony, balance, divine connection, intuition, psychic abilities, inspiration, and it also raises energy as well as releases energy. So it's very multi-purpose here.
I'm like, in the power of 3.
Yes.
It's a triangle.
It does. It totally represents mind, body, spirit, the triple goddess, the Holy Trinity, however you want to look at it. Like, it's one of the most mystical shapes, you know?
Right.
I love the number 3.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And actually, I did find out that the Sanskrit symbol of the third eye is, like, when it's pointed up, is a triangle. And that's a symbol of also, like, a flame or fire. So it's kind of like a torchlight illuminating the darkness to kind of maybe open up things you can't see in your life, or maybe unknown paths for you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I think a triangle would be really good for a lot of manifestation, and maybe you're a really creative person, you've got creative projects, all that good stuff. So another easy grid to do at home would be a square or a diamond as well, kind of like one and the same depending on how you're going to angle it. And when you think of a square or a diamond, you kind of think of like strength. Like diamonds are really hard to break, and a square kind of represents maybe like a castle or a fortress. So it's a really strong foundation. It gives you endurance. Doing a square or diamond grid could also help you kind of establish your boundaries. That's something that I always feel like I struggle with. And also bringing about material manifestations. So maybe you're having some struggles with stuff in your life, maybe financially, that could help out. The square would also represent the 4 corners, north, east, south, west, and earth, air, fire, water, the seasons and elements, and just kind of grounding. So it's a very practical element. It almost makes you think of the element earth, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a good one for working with the practical world and bringing about balance and strength. So those are some easy grids. Because other than that, there's so many complicated ones that I almost feel like you need a printout for, because it's like
right.
that geometric flower of life of all those little circles. And, you know, I think that it's easy to get tied up in thinking, oh, I can't do a crystal grid because I don't have a crystal grid pattern, or I've got to go buy one and spend some money on it. But really, we can make these grids and just be kind of intuitive and see what shapes come about.
Sure. It's kind of like art. I mean, you make it what you want. Even if you're not artistic, you can do this.
For sure.
So it's just whatever you want. No
right.
judgments. It's great.
And like, even if you don't feel like, I don't know, looking up what each shape means, just go with your intuition and how does it feel today? And does it look cool? Maybe that's part of it. Like, a lot of the times when I'm setting up my altar, like, I just get this feeling, and I'll move things around, move this candle, move that shell, and it's kind of like my setup process, and I'm listening to music, I'm getting ready, and then by the end of it, it just feels right, and I'm like, okay, cool, this is time to rock it out, let's go.
You know what I like most about that is that every single person on earth, I feel like, has some internal intuition. It's just a matter, are you willing to tap into it, and are you willing to harness it? And so you doing that is a way of tapping into that intuition and harnessing it yourself and making it work for you.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like this last maybe couple of days, my intuition barometer has gone back up. Like,
nice.
You know, it comes in waves sometimes in life. And so it was a little bit low, but right now, like, I was having major synchronicities the other day, and just like I would do something and then boom, that thing would happen, or 2 people would be thinking the same thing at the same time, and just like,
I love it.
I was thinking about texting you, and then at that same moment I was getting a
messaged
video
you.
message from you.
Yeah.
And I was having all these synchronicities with different people in different situations, and I love leaning into that, and I love getting in that groove of just like trust myself.
Yeah. I love it. I know that my son and I were driving down the road this week and had a huge synchronicity, but it was like we were singing a song, and it was like probably classic rock or something. Him and I listen to classic rock together. So we're just jamming to this classic rock, probably from the 80s. Windows rolled down. It's blaring hot. And the word was sign. And then right next to us was a sign that said sign on it. So I was like, look, there's a sign. Ethan, and Ethan was like, it's a double sign. It's a
Dude.
sign that says sign, or he said triple sign. It's a sign that says sign, and it is a sign.
Yeah, like those double, triple synchronicities are insane. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll say the word out loud just because I'm having a conversation, and then like a lot, like lately I've been having a lot of TV on in the background just for white noise, and like that person in the show says the same word as me at the
Right.
same time.
Or my favorite is when they respond to you. You say something out loud and they
yes.
respond, and you're like, wait a second.
Right? Like,
Or am I having a conversation with the universe right now?
yes. Yeah. Love
So
those
great.
synchronicities.
Yeah.
So I know you had given some research to some specific crystals. Did you want to break that down?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So I chose some crystals that I didn't really know a lot about and ones that I don't actually hear about very often. I thought that typically we always talk about quartz and we always talk about amethyst, and I was like, let's do something a little bit different. So the first one I had was apatite, and it's not spelled like how you eat. I'm not talking about food, but it's Apatite, and it's just this beautiful blue in color kind of stone, and sometimes you can find it in green or yellow. And I would wear this around the neck if I needed work to help me achieve my goals or for better communication. And then you can also use it to tap into that Akashic record that I was talking about earlier. And for those who don't know what that Akashic record is, if you haven't listened to any of our previous episodes, that's just kind of this generic name kind of that talks about this whole giant computer base where all of our knowledge comes from, where all knowledge is kept, basically.
It's like
Yeah.
an ancient idea, isn't it? Like, where
It
did this
is.
stem from?
I think it comes from, who are those aliens from way back when that we fell in love with?
Not the Palladians, not
No, it was the ones that were here on Earth, but they don't actually come out and say that they were aliens, but I think that they're aliens.
Oh man, I cannot remember.
I
right
know,
now.
I'm so sorry. I'm like really messing it up.
No,
My
no,
memory
no.
is crap today, but
I mean, there's too many types of aliens and so much ancient knowledge.
Right.
Like, even if I access the Akashic records, this would what would be happening. I'd be like, what did it say? Like,
yeah.
I'd
I need
forget.
to read that again. Could you tell me one more time?
Yeah. Sometimes my memory is just not there.
Yeah, just depends on what it's about. Oh, appetite. So the element would be air or water, since it's that blue color. It's going to help you with that third eye or throat chakra. And you could also use it when working with the goddess Gaia. And that's the thing about crystals and rocks too. A lot of crystals are very feminine. So I thought I would throw in some goddesses with these, because when you're doing crystal grids, you're typically working with a feminine deity.
Okay, I didn't realize that there's like not too many masculine deities attached.
Yeah, I did not find any. I was having a really hard time finding anything that was related to the stone when it came with male. I was like, I know we have male listers. I want to get them their gods, but
Right?
could
Some
only get
balance.
some goddesses. Yeah, some balance. So,
But that's still cool. And I think that this is a stone that really would resonate with me. Like, I love the third eye, but because that's just, I love to be an escapist,
Yes.
and I love to just like dive deep into the unknown and, I don't know, get that like meditation zone. But then I also do kind of struggle with finding my own voice in life, and I know this podcast has really helped me with that. But I think
Yeah.
that I still have so much room to grow as far as communication with others.
I feel like we're growing till the moment that we die.
True.
And even then, we're probably growing some more after that.
Yeah.
So, it's just that growth. It's never ending.
And that's a good thing, though. It would
It's
it would
awesome.
get stagnant otherwise.
Yeah, so boring. Oh, that's what's wrong with so many people. They just stop growing.
Or, yeah, and they resist.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one I wanted to talk about was malachite. It is green in color. It's typically kind of a porous material when it's raw, but then because in that raw form it's dangerous. Most of the time when you buy it, it's polished. So malachite can actually make you sick if you're touching it too much, and you definitely don't want to put it up to your face.
What?
But if it's polished, you can do that, because then it's coated with that stuff, and you don't have that porous material, because the malachite, it can flake off and it could be a little bit dangerous. So I just learned about that. I was like, wait, I think I have raw malachite in my stuff. I guess I shouldn't be touching it all the time.
Yeah. Do you know why it makes us sick?
I didn't. It said it had a poison in it that was naturally attached to it. And
Okay.
the dust can make humans sick.
So I can throw this at my enemies.
Probably. But when it's polished, it looks like it has a little green eye that can represent nature.
Mm-hmm.
And you could use this in a situation that you're trying to make better. Like if you're in a situation where you want to grow spiritually or you want your life to go in a different way, you would want to use this stone. It's change for the positive, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that it can protect you against an evil eye. It can also absorb negative energy in a space or help you fight against electronic pollutants like your phone and your internet and all the
cool.
things that are around you. It can repel that. And also you can rub it on your stomach when you have cramps and it should eliminate those cramps. I was like, dude, I need this in my life.
Totally.
I need this.
It's like
And-
dangerous but helpful.
Exactly. And you can hold it in your hands during meditation when you're trying to heal yourself from the inside out. So I don't know if anybody's done that kind of deep meditation where you're healing yourself from your internal organs to your brain all the way out. But this is a good stone to work with on that.
Mm-hmm.
And the element represented is earth. This would be dealing with the heart chakra. And the goddess is going to be Hathor. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Hathor.
I think so.
Hathor. Yeah, the mother of all.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of an amazing woman.
Awesome. I mean, she's the
Yeah.
mother of all.
I know, right?
I had to do a quick malachite Google search on the sickness.
Yes, tell me.
So it's just real quick, but it just says that it releases toxic fumes when it gets moist. So they're saying
Okay.
a bathroom would be the worst place to have it. And I'm guessing that's in the raw form, like you said.
Yeah,
And
the
that
raw
you
form.
should never use this to make a crystal elixir. You know how you could put a crystal in the water and then drink it.
Yep.
So never ingest it. And then a lot of care should be taken when giving with them. But again, that's in its raw state.
Right. And a lot of times you're not going to find it in that raw state. So...
It's almost kind of looks like coralish in the raw state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very porous. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has that really material that's kind of got all those holes in it.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is one of my favorites. It's agate, which I can find anytime that I want if I'm walking on the beach in Oregon. And agate is kind of a part of the quartz family, which I didn't know about. And there's literally hundreds, maybe even thousands of different types of agates out there. So you can find them in any single color, any single shape. It doesn't matter. Agate.
Oh, that's
could be any of
confusing.
these.
How do you differentiate?
Well, the difference is they're not completely clear, but you can see through them.
Okay.
So it's like that milky, you can hold it up to the light, but you can still see it.
I'm Googling them, and honestly, it's helping me figure out what some of my stones are that I didn't know.
Right? Mm-hmm.
I have some pink agate, and I thought it was just a fake stone, maybe they dyed a clear stone because it was
Right.
just such a intense color.
But they're natural.
That's natural.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I have agates in almost every color. I don't have a pink one, so that's awesome that you found one of those.
I actually got it from Enchanted Forest, which is this dope little theme park in Oregon.
Yeah.
It's
and it's probably real then if you got it from there.
Right?
'Cause they probably found it.
I just have to paint a picture for anyone who's not local to this town, but it's a cute little fairy tale, I would say, amusement park.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
there's one section where I was mining, I was in line with all the children to go mine through the sands, and you give them 5 tickets and they let you scoop up the sand and then just shift the shifter. And I got all these stones and I literally thought they were fake. But now I'm so glad I didn't get rid of them because I'm I think they might have all been agate. And the fact that you said that they're easily, that's something you can just find in Oregon is all adding up.
Yeah, you can find them everywhere in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. It doesn't
Interesting.
matter where you're at, you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
And a lot of these rocks that I'm seeing are the flat rocks that are a flat circle. It almost looks like a crystal coaster in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I always was curious what those are. And now I know that's agate as well.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you
So
for
many
teaching me
different cool-
this.
Yes.
I'm into this.
I love agates. They're one of my favorite. We even have an agate beach here that's
What?
just agates everywhere.
Instead of
Yeah.
sand, or you mean in both?
Both.
Okay.
But they just wash up in swarms for some reason in this place.
Fun. That I wonder if
Yeah.
that place radiates like that energy.
Ooh, maybe. It is kind of near that Devil's Punch Bowl, I think, that we have.
Isn't there something paranormal about that Devil's Punch Bowl, or no? It's just because the word devil's there, I want to make
It's just it does kind of look like it's devilish, but really there's an actual scientific thing that's behind it. If you can do a Google search for Devil's Punch Bowl in Oregon, you guys, it's actually really cool. But it's this big, huge, giant rock that was on the side of a mountain, and the ocean hit it in such a way, and there were these caves. So it hit the caves in such a way that now there's this spiral, and it's open to the elements. It almost looks like a volcano that you're looking down into, but you're not.
Back to that spiral.
Yep, it's very cool. Okay, so agate. So you can use this to help promote stability in your life, security, self-confidence. And this is kind of one of my favorite things about the agate. And I didn't know this until I started studying them for this episode. But I've always kept an agate in my car. And I guess it helps you protects you against having major accidents.
Perfect.
I just was lazy and kept it in my car after I had been at the beach one day, and I was like, it's cool. I gotta have a stone.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
like perfect. The universe was like, yeah, your car is
Right.
gonna need this.
Exactly. And then because an agate can come in any color, it can work with any element. You just have to choose the right one. And then it can help with any chakra, because once again, the agate can come in any color. And you would work with the goddess Aurora.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Goddess Aurora.
Me either. I should have looked up and seen what she did.
I just love that name so much.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, like Aurora Borealis and Sleeping Beauty.
Love it.
So it sounds like this agate is super, super universal.
It is. Yeah, you can use it for pretty much anything.
Gotcha. So I guess Aurora is maybe like a Greco-Roman mythology. She's
Okay.
the personification of the dawn.
That's right.
Yeah,
I did read something
there's a
about
little,
that.
just a little tidbit.
All right. So the next one I have is aventurine, which you can say adventurine or aventurine. Either way, you're going to find the right stone. And these come in blue, green, or red. I only looked up the red one because I was curious about it. So it has the characteristics of, it has the characteristics of quartz, but it's red. So it kind of has that same kind of clear red stone. And it would represent fire and inspires creativity and renews confidence to reach your goals. And it can also help bring clarity of what it will take to reach those goals realistically. And because red equals sexy, you could use it for kind of like love spells and things like that too.
Nice.
Yes. And the element would be earth or fire. And the chakra would be the root chakra. And you could use this in summoning the Moirae.
Do tell. What is this?
So the Moirae are goddesses of fate. You've never heard of them?
No.
Oh,
I don't think
They're
so.
those 3 goddesses of fate, and you can contact them to see where your fate lies.
That sounds really familiar, like that triple goddess thing. It's in so many
Yes.
different forms.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
They are definitely a triple goddess.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Next one I have on my list is kunzite. Don't know if I'm saying that right.
That sounds right, actually. Like,
Okay, good.
I'm just kind of excited because that's like a name of a Sailor Moon bad guy, and maybe they were named after crystals.
Nice. Maybe. That is so awesome. I just know that when I had never heard of this, but when I saw the photo of it, I was like, I need this in my life. I really need this stone.
Okay, Googling now. I'm all like,
Yes,
ooh.
it's a beautiful light purple crystal. It's just light purple. Right?
I'm in
We
love.
need this. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
It's like a pastel amethyst. Oh my god, it is the prettiest color.
It's
It's
gorgeous.
so soothing just to look at.
Right?
I want to take a bath
Right.
in this. So what is it good for?
Okay, so this one is good for opening and connecting the heart and the mind together, working as one to unite.
Oh my god, that's so sweet.
Right? And it's typically called the Women's Stone, and it helps women get through all of the changes that the body goes through year after year. I mean, as women, I'm sure men go through it too, but I feel like women were just like, oh my gosh, I had my period. Oh my God, I'm having a baby. Oh my God, I have to deal with menopause.
Right.
So this stone can help you go through all of the transitions that you're going through in your life as a woman.
I am getting massive like feelings in my chest looking at this stone. Like I'm just like
Right?
you. Like I need this stone.
I need it. It's like I felt such love when I looked at it. I was like, I am connected. We are one.
Right? It's like this stone's putting me in a trance through Google Images. It's gonna turn me into an evil Negaverse monster, but
No. But I think I'm gonna buy one now.
Yeah.
Like I definitely want to search for one, find one.
like it would be great to find some maybe in jewelry form too.
Yes.
Like just to be able to wear it on you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Definitely
I can
love it.
see some shopping in our future.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
great.
This is so beautiful.
So gorgeous. Okay, I have one more.
Okay.
Peridot. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, but it's kind of this yellowish green gem. And the cool thing about peridot is they found this not only on Earth, but they found it in space dust, on space rocks. So I think it's scattered throughout all of the universe. I'm just jumping there.
Just gonna lay it out there.
Yeah. And with this one, you would use it when attuning yourself in your own environment. So let's say you're kind of off in your environment and you're blocked somehow, then you would use this because the vibrations of it are going to help you keep in check and remove any blockages that may keep yourself in check, and then you can remove any of those blockages you're having. Also, a really, really cool thing is if you need to find a lost object, this stone can help you locate it.
Nice.
And if you keep it under your pillow, it's going to fight off some nightmares.
Very handy.
Mm-hmm. And because it's green, you can use it in good luck spells. And I think they said the element was earth and fire. You can use it for the heart or solar plexus chakra. And the goddess would be Pele.
Ah. Is that like a Hawaiian goddess?
Yes, and she's the goddess of volcanoes and fire.
Okay.
Which I was kind of like, peridot for a volcano and fire seems odd, but I mean, it's green. I guess I was thinking it would be air.
Oh. It's very like Clover-esque looking to me, so I guess I would
It
associate
is.
with Earth more than
Earth.
anything. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And I actually have heard of this one only because of more cartoons. Steven Universe is another cartoon I watch, and they like each character is named after a stone. So how they pronounce, I don't know if this is correct, they pronounce it peridot.
Okay, so maybe that's correct.
I'm not sure. That's the only time I ever heard it
Yeah.
said out loud. So I don't know if when you were Googling it, if you came across a weird green alien, but that's...
No, I just didn't know how to pronounce it.
Because that's how I'm Googling it and I just see
Peridot.
like...
Steven Universe.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen a couple episodes of that. It's actually kind of a cute show.
It is. And like it's interesting because each of them are probably corresponding to the gem that they're named after.
Right. Crystals. They have crystals in their bellies, right?
Yeah, they all have different crystals. And so
Yeah.
when you're describing the peridot gemstone, I was just thinking about that character. And she's kind of like the opposite of those qualities. So maybe
That's hilarious.
she needs to work more on her.
Yeah.
So she's got a character arc to go. But it's a really pretty stone. It's so bright and green that it looks like man-made to me.
Right.
Like I'm seeing it mostly
Yeah.
in diamond form.
Mm-hmm. I found one on the beach before.
And it was a raw, obviously.
Yeah, a raw stone. And so it was not as clear. It was more cloudy.
Uh-huh. You found a lot of stones out in nature, and
I know.
I think I've maybe like... So does this happen where it could be also attached or inside of a rock?
Yeah.
Because I saw a
It could be
stone the other
inside of
day
another rock,
that was
yeah.
like a rock on the outside, typical rock, but then on the inside it looked like a light blue, and I was like, is that a legit crystal? And I just kind of like
Probably.
put it down.
Yeah, it probably was. I've found so many different rocks like that and stones like that where there's crystals inside.
We need to get like our own tumbling machine. Don't they sell those for like girl crafts? Like
Probably, yeah. Like I've even found raw thunder eggs out. I don't know if you know what a
No,
thunder egg is,
no.
but it looks like a chunky old piece of rock, and then when you break it open, there's crystals inside.
Like
Yeah.
multiple crystals.
Yes.
That's pretty
They're
cool.
gorgeous.
That is really lucky.
They're prominent in Oregon. I am really lucky. It's like I'm doing an ad for Oregon. You guys should come here.
You really are.
Yeah.
Just bragging about all them Oregon gemstones.
That's right.
I loved a lot of those stones, honestly, that you shared. And
Thank you. I needed to pick something that we hadn't done before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we've talked about so many, and there's so many that everybody's just like, oh, your go-to should be this, this, and this. I'm like, but wait, what about all these other stones?
I mean, there's so many, so many.
Yeah.
And
you can't just...
I always assumed
It's not that I don't like the other stones.
Right.
I love them all.
Right. I always assumed I couldn't learn what they all meant anyway, but it's fun
Yeah.
to take a little bit at a time and see what
Right.
resonates with you. Like, I super was resonating with, obviously, with the kunzite and the agate. Like,
Yes. I have so much of the agate that,
agate,
man, yeah.
I guess,
I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
right? We gotta guess sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. All these hard words, man.
Mm-hmm. And I only knew the one because of a cartoon, so TV teaches me so much.
Yeah. Good old TV.
Yeah.
That's all I had. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it that we wanted to discuss about crystals, crystal grids. I hope that maybe some of you guys feel inclined to maybe try some of these stones, or at least just research them, maybe make your own crystal grids, take a picture, let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to see some photos of your guys's. I'll try to see if I can remember to take one and post it too.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yay. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we will be taking next week off, so you can join us in the next 2 weeks from now, where we're going to start our month of spooky Halloween fun, our favorite time of the year. And we're going to kick off October with a discussion on Lizzie Borden. So in the meantime, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Cousins Coven, and check out our blog, cousinscoven.home.blog, where you can find witchy words of wisdom, spells, and all of our archived podcast episodes from season 1. So send in any research ideas with questions or just fan mail, or even your paranormal experiences into cousinscoven2@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys, and we would love some spooky stories. So please like, subscribe, and share with all of your witchy and weirdo friends.
May you find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and join each other. Blessings to all.